I wanna be Batman, cause everybody really ain't.
Everybody, this is mjawwarrior here with mjawwarrior Reviews, and I'm bringing you guys my top 10 favorite Batman stories of all time. Now, this was a very difficult choice. This was very difficult. The whole list was difficult for me to decide which ones would be my top 10. Now, I read a lot of Batman stories, and I have to say there's a lot that I like out there, but to just sum it up in number 10, to, a list of 10, sort of hard, but I've figured out which ones I liked, and I got them down. Now, number 10 here, now, just because it's number 10 doesn't mean I like it any less than number 9 or number 8 or number 7. No, these all made it onto the list, but my number 10, starting it off, well, just look at it. Batman, Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious earth. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why I like this story. A lot of personal reasons also. Now, I got this story as a gift from my girlfriend. It was one of my first ever softcover, graphic novels that I ever owned. And it was just very different from any other story that I ever read. Now, when I say different, you're probably like, well, how is it different? Well, for instance, the artwork in here is completely out of control. It is very different, very dark, very gothic, very sinister and realistic, I would have to say. Like, they made the people look... It was just very depressing artwork, very drawn out. You can see the sorrow in the artwork. That's how dark and depressing it was. And it was, it really stood out onto my list, because it was just very out there and very dark. Now, the fact that it takes place in Arkham Asylum is another reason why I liked it. And it gives you a lot of backstory onto Arkham Asylum itself. The story itself begins with, Gordon, he's telling Batman, come down here, Joker's running the asylum. He's got hostages, we need you to save them. Batman goes in there. Joker tells him the terms about, welcoming to the crazy house, this, that, and the other. And basically the story takes on from there, with Batman locked inside this asylum with the crazies, with a whole bunch of people that he basically just threw in there. And, they think that he deserves to be in there with them, which, is very debatable. You never really know. Now, you've got your people that you know in here. Killer Croc, Joker, you got Two-Face, you got Clayface, you've got, well, you also got Arkham, too, but he's not in there with them at that time. It's basically his backstory onto how he started the asylum, and how he was younger, and his mom was bedridden, and she was mentally ill herself. And, it kind of urged him into being sort of a little out there and a little bit determined to becoming a psychologist and helping out mentally disturbed people. This is very noble of him, I guess. But it made him a little bit of a little out there himself. You've also got the, the hostages being, taken by the inmates in there. Just a whole bunch of traumas happening in here. Now, you've got Grant Morrison writing in here, and, you've got... Well, everyone knows how Grant Morrison is, and it's very... I'm not going to say it's difficult to read. No, it's not difficult to read. You can understand it. But, your second time reading it is going to make you understand it a little bit better. I'm just going to say it like that. Now, don't let me, convince you in saying that, it's, not fun to read the first time. No, it's a very fun read. It's very different. You'll like it and appreciate it. But, your second time reading it, you'll be able to appreciate it more. Now, Grant Morrison has a way of writing that a lot of things are happening at the same time. Now, the artwork doesn't really help the writing. It's like sometimes the artwork is so dark that sometimes you don't know when it's happening and where it's happening. That's what I'm going to say to you. But it doesn't take away from the storyline, but I can see how it could. You know what I'm saying? But, Two-Face in here has his own little story in here. Like, the doctor was trying to figure out how to make him not depend on his trademark coin. Now, everyone knows that Two-Face has his two-sided, coin with the two faces, the one fucked up and the one good-looking. Now they're trying to make him not depend on it, so he can make decisions on his own, using tarot cards, using 12-sided die, I think it was. Now, this process made it so difficult for him to decide things that even mundane tasks like going to the bathroom made it difficult for him to decide, how to do it. So he wound up pissing his pants. Joker would laugh at him hysterically, ridicule him, and, go on his merry way. Batman has a fight scene with Croc in here. Very dark, very dark. So I'm not going to give you guys the whole rundown in here, but I'm just going to tell you it's very interesting, very different to read. You'll very much like this book. It made it as one of my favorites because it was just Arkham Asylum. I mean, you get a backstory onto it. You get, a different Batman from what you're used to. It's very dark. The artwork is very dark. It's just very different and very creative. Now, am I a big fan of Grant Morrison? No. But do I read his stuff? Yes. I respect his writing and this, that, and the other. But in a storyline where Grant Morrison would basically be at home is Arkham Asylum. This is where he belongs. Not in normal writings as comic book strips and, confusing the hell out of normal readers. But what are you going to do? We're stuck with him. So, But does he ruin the story? No, he doesn't ruin the stories. It's just his writing is very unique to other writers. It's just very unique. I'm just gonna say unique. But this is a very good book. Nothing takes away from this book. If you want a different story of Batman, a different outlook on him, a different Batman from what you're used to seeing, a different inmate looking, like, Clayface and Joker and Two-Face, you'll get a lot out of this book. I'm telling you, you're gonna really enjoy this book. It's very good to read. It's very interesting, and you'll find it to be very good. The one line at the end that I'm just gonna tell you guys, this one spoiler. If you don't want to see it, you can just stop it now. But the one spoiler at the end is when Batman gets out of the asylum and Joker meets him at the door and says, if you ever get, sick of the crazy world out there, there's always a home and place for you in here. And it's just one of those lines where it's just like, wow. Like, it just explains the whole relationship between Joker and Batman, and it's that whole chemistry between them. It's just a very cool, book. So, I would definitely recommend you reading it, but this is one of my top 10 favorites, and it's number 10, so definitely give it a try if you want to read something different. With all that, this is my number 10, number 9 coming next week. Catch you guys later.